This might be the worst offseason for the Washington football team ever. First, they have to change their name. They are now the football team. Second, they have the whole thing going on with their ownership. And now, Derrius Guice. They release a young, promising running back from their roster today due to a domestic violence situation. In this video, I'm going to cover the football, okay? I'm going to cover the prospects of what it means for Washington now that they have released Derrius Guice, because going into the season, everybody was counting on Derrius Guice to carry the load at the running back position, to be their bell cow at the running back position, to be the guy that touches the football the most out of the backfield as a receiver, as a runner, and as a player that I saw for his first couple of seasons, although some bad luck for him in those first couple of seasons with injuries, completely derails his career. And now I'm sorry to say, I think his career is probably going to be over. Never say never, but probably just the way that it's gone so far, right? And the injuries are unfortunate. This situation is terrible. It's awful, but of course, in the NFL community, as an NFL channel, we got to move on. So I got to discuss what Washington does at the running back position now. The first name coming out of Washington that you do need to be aware of is, of course, the veteran, Adrian Peterson. People forget that Adrian Peterson kind of had a resurgent season a year ago as a part of Washington and was their lead ball carrier a season ago. So I think early on in the season, you're going to see Adrian Peterson be the relevant guy in the backfield when it comes to touching the football. Now, some things have changed since then, of course. There's a new coaching staff. So what they see at practice, it's going to change who gets the most carries, how they divide the roles, and obviously Adrian Peterson being an older back in his mid-30s, this is a guy that's not going to play every single snap. They're going to have to divide it into niche roles on this depth chart. AP will be that first and second down guy, in my opinion, early on. Now, if he plays great, he will hold on to that role. He's never been a great pass catcher. That's where you enter the young, promising player, Antonio Gibson. Every fantasy guy, no matter who you're talking about, is all over Antonio Gibson, and was when Derrius Guice was still on the team. Like, this is a guy that's gathered a lot of hype, a lot of people are excited about, and it's because of what Scott Turner could possibly offer within this offense in terms of getting the football to the running back position. As we know, Christian McCaffrey was a huge part, the leading receiver for Carolina a year ago, and Gibson does have a sneaky skill set where he's kind of this versatile weapon type. You know, is he a receiver? Is he a running back? Is he a dynamic player as a receiver on the backfield? You know, you can line him up in a multitude of ways. He can be dangerous in a multitude of ways. He's just a very multiple, versatile, and dynamic playmaker. And that's exactly what this Washington offense needs. You know, they have Terry McLaurin, but other than that, they do not have a proven commodity at tight end, second receiver, slot, running back. It doesn't matter. They need a young player, somebody we've never heard from before, to step up and to be that secondary playmaker in this offense, whether that's as a running back, tight end, or receiver. They need it badly. And if they want to get something out of young Haskins, who's in a pressure cooker right now, he's in a pressure year, in only year 2, where he didn't start even most of the year a year ago. He's already feeling the pressure, and he needs playmakers around him to make it easy on him, to make life easy on him. And I do think that the Turner offense, it's great for Gibson. I think Gibson fits it perfectly. I think there's a reason they drafted him, because they had a role in mind for him, and I think they were trying to get him the football in lots of different ways, as I discussed. But now, him as a rookie, he's going to be counted on much more early on in the season. And if you're a fantasy guy out there, he is probably the guy you target in drafts. Now, I don't know how high yet, but I do think that he's a guy that probably around where Guice was going, maybe slightly later than where Guice was going, you take Gibson, because a lot of people were already taking him, a late dart at the end of drafts, but I do feel like he would be the guy that if you're shooting for upside, which you're doing at every end of the draft in fantasy, you want to go with Gibson. The others, you could throw it out the window. Adrian Peterson, sure, you could take a shot on him as a solid, number 3, number 4 guy on your bench early in the season, but I don't think you're going to get longevity out of him as the season wears on. I think you're going to see the split in the reps really just go up. You're going to see Bryce Love get some touches, who's quick and fast and has some potential as well. They picked him in the 4th round in 2019. Again, different coaching staff though, so different expectation, and it's not a my guy per se. When you change coaching staffs, the my guy thing goes out the window, right? When you draft someone, you're like, that's my guy. I draft him for a reason. Now with the new coaching staff taking over, it's completely a new ball game. Now, other running backs they brought in J.D. McKissic, who might have a chance to make this team. Actually was solid for Detroit last year as a pass catcher. So that's another guy that's like a pass catcher. They brought in Peyton Barber as more of a ball carrier. He's not really known to catch the football, but I would expect early in the year, those two vets to get a lot of the carries. AP, Peyton Barber. You're going to see maybe Love mixed in there based on practice performance and what they see on tape if they like him enough. And then I think you're going to see Gibson and you're going to see McKissic catching the football. I don't really know if the roles have changed all that much, but I do feel like Geis being out of there takes their lead tailback away, and now it kind of divides the roles even more evenly amongst 4 or 5 different running backs. I think on game days for the Skins, you're going to see, a lot of different running backs in the backfield. You're going to see 3-4 running backs per game in different situations based on their skill set, because they do not have an alpha dog. They do not have a lead dog. They do not have a Zeke. They do not have a Saquon, right? They have a bunch of these guys, and luckily their running back position is probably the strongest on their football team. Luckily it is. But I do feel like this is going to be a really, really heavy committee. So for their football team, I don't think it's going to change their production on the field or how much they get out of this offense really drastically, especially because Geis is a running back. But from a fantasy perspective, it kind of makes you intrigued to see if Gibson gets a bigger role or if they just go completely committee. But I think that is up to Turner. And in the past, we've seen, although that was Christian McCaffrey, they pretty much rely on one guy and one guy only. So there is a debate to be had that if Gibson really shows out early on, it could be him, or it could be AP for like the first quarter of the season, and then eventually one of these young backs breaks out. That's the interesting question. But I don't think, this changes Washington as a team in 2020. I really don't. The running back position really doesn't impact wins and losses too much to me. And while he was a young, talented player, we had never seen him for a full season yet. It's unfortunate, his situation. It's unfortunate for him, and he messed it up. But I do think that Washington as a team, if you're a fan of Washington, it probably sucks because you were looking forward to seeing Geis this year. But I don't think it changes what they're going to do this year, if they're good or if they're bad. It's not going to change it. So Gronk, spike the like button. Comment below your opinion on this running back situation. I think this is one of the more intriguing running back situations in the league. Again, if I had to guess, it's AP early on getting most of the touches. Gibson a little bit sprinkled in there. McKissic as a pass catcher. You're going to see Love getting the football, and you're going to see Peyton Barber. But it's going to be really interesting to watch early in this year to see how they divide the touches in this new offense with this new coaching staff. It's Mitch. Peace.